Hey everyone, Mrs. Miller here, coming to you with this week's book talk, and I am beyond excited to tell you about today's book, even though I'm still a little sore from having a cavity filled. My first one ever, and let me tell you, kiddos, it is worth it to have good hygiene, because this was not fun. But anyway, I am excited again to tell you about this week's book. But before we start, I have to tell you this one thing. The book that I'm going to talk to you about today deals with many controversial subjects, ones that are a hot points of debate in the news and in our everyday lives. The book is science fiction, but it's a fictional world that is not incredibly different from our own, except in one major way. And this one way makes the futuristic world an incredibly scary place to live. But it's only scary if you are between the ages of 13 and 18. Today's novel is a book called Unwind, and it's by Neal Shusterman. You might remember that name from a book talk that I did during the school year. He wrote Everlost, the book about the world where you go after you die. This book is set in the United States, but a United States in the future that is living in a post-war era. The country at some point in the future was thrown into what came to be known as the Heartland War. It was when two groups who were known for their war of words actually formed armies and began to attack each other. Pro-lifers, people who believe that life begins at conception and abortion is wrong, and pro-choicers, people who believe that humans have a right to have complete control over their bodies. Well, the war got very violent, and after thousands of people were killed, the U.S. military had to step in to help moderate and create a peace treaty. Only after much debate were both sides able to come to an agreement that came to be known as the Bill of Life. At the time that the war was going on, doctors were developing and perfecting the technology that enabled every part of a human body to be used for transplantation. Today, we can only use certain organs or certain parts of the body if someone dies, but in this futuristic world, every single part, from your eyes to your fingers to your toes, could be used in transplantation. Well, the Bill of Life stated that from the moment a child was conceived to the age of 13, they had the right to life. Once a child turns 13, however, and at any time up until the point that they turn 18, if that child is unwanted, they can be unwound. When a person is unwound, they are taken to what's called a harvest camp, and they undergo a procedure that literally takes their bodies apart. And each part of the body, again, from the hands to the eyes to the feet, is donated to a living person. So technically, the unwanted teenager doesn't die because their body goes on living, just in a divided state. So the two factions who were fighting this war saw this Bill of Life as a compromise. And so this culture of unwinding took over. And it was a solution for unwanted teenagers to have a higher calling in their life, for parts of them to go on to be great in other people's lives. This book begins with you as a reader meeting three different teenagers. all who have been marked to be unwound for different reasons. The first is Connor, a 17-year-old boy whose parents have decided to have him unwound because he is a poor student and a troublemaker. He gets into fights at school, and so his parents have decided that it would be better for them and for him to be unwound. The section that I'm going to read to you today comes from the very beginning of the book. It explains to us how Connor discovered that he was being unwound.